Right now, as you watch this, you are sitting somewhere safe. You are breathing without thinking about it. You can feel the ambient temperature of the room on your skin, and your heart is pumping warm blood through thousands of kilometers of veins inside your body. You feel grounded, secure, and permanent. But that comfort is a fragile, terrifying illusion. Your safety, your warmth, and the very air in your lungs are tied to an invisible, fragile tether stretching 150 million kilometers into the violent vacuum of space. You probably think that if the sun suddenly disappeared, we would just be left in the dark. You picture a very long, very cold night where you just need to put on a heavy winter coat, turn on the heater, and wait for scientists to figure out a solution. You think the worst part would be the lack of light. It is not just about the dark. The reality of a sunless Earth is a relentless, suffocating countdown of physical and biological horror. By the end of this journey, you will realize how violently dependent every single cell in your body is on a raging nuclear furnace you barely even look at. You are going to see exactly what the universe does to unprotected flesh when the shield goes down. Imagine it happens right now. The sun simply vanishes. It blinks out of existence. For the first 8 minutes, you feel absolutely nothing. You continue watching this. People are walking their dogs, planes are taking off, and the sky is bright blue. You are living in a ghost world. The light hitting your face right now left the sun 8 minutes and 20 seconds ago. That means for 8 minutes after the sun dies, its final ghost image is still traveling across the solar system at 300,000 kilometers per second. You are basking in dead light. But light is not the only thing traveling toward you. Gravity moves at the exact same speed. In 1915, Albert Einstein proved that gravitational waves ripple through space at the speed of light. The sun is gone, but Earth does not know it yet. It is still orbiting an empty center, held on a leash that has already been cut. Think about those 8 minutes. It is the last time you will ever feel natural warmth. The clock is ticking down to 0, and you are completely unaware. Then, minute 8 and 20 seconds arrives. It does not look like a sunset. A sunset is gradual, painted with oranges and purples as the Earth rotates. This is a violent, instant glitch. The sky turns off. 1 second it is bright daylight, and the next second it is a suffocating, impenetrable pitch black. If you are looking up, the moon vanishes from the sky at the exact same moment. The moon produces no light of its own. It is just a mirror reflecting the sun. Without the sun, the moon becomes a dead, invisible rock floating in the dark. The planets fade out. The only things left in the sky are the distant stars, suddenly glaring down through a completely blackened atmosphere. Your pupils dilate so hard it physically hurts. Your brain panics, trying to find a light source that no longer exists. At that exact same second, the gravitational leash snaps. Earth is moving through space at roughly 30 kilometers per second. Without the immense gravity of the sun pulling it inward, Earth instantly flies off into the interstellar void in a completely straight line, like a stone released from a slingshot. You will not feel this change in trajectory. You will not be thrown into a wall or float up into the sky, because Earth retains its own gravity. But you are now a passenger on a rogue planet, a dark spaceship hurtling uncontrollably into the unknown depths of the Milky Way. Panic sets in within minutes. The power grid surges as billions of people simultaneously turn on lights. Cars crash on suddenly pitch-black highways. But the dark is only the first symptom of the apocalypse. Now, the real killer arrives. The cold. Earth has thermal inertia. It holds on to heat for a little while, much like a hot stone taken out of a fire. The average global temperature right now is around 14 degrees Celsius. But within the first few hours, that heat begins to bleed out into the freezing vacuum of space. By the end of day 1, the entire planet drops below freezing. The global average is 0 degrees Celsius. If you step outside, you can see your breath pluming in the dark. But beneath your feet, something much worse is happening. The great lungs of the Earth are shutting down. Without sunlight, photosynthesis halts instantly. Every plant, every tree, every blade of grass stops producing oxygen. They switch to consuming it to survive. The food chain is decapitated in a single day. By the end of week 1, the global temperature plummets to minus 17 degrees Celsius. Now, the infrastructure of human civilization begins to tear apart. The water pipes inside your walls freeze, expand, and burst. There is no running water. The power grids, completely overwhelmed by the demand for heat and crippled by freezing components, begin to fail. Entire cities go dark permanently. You are hiding inside your home, wearing every layer of clothing you own. Your body is a biological furnace desperately trying to maintain an internal temperature of 37 degrees Celsius. To do this, your heart beats faster. You shiver uncontrollably, causing your muscles to spasm to generate friction and heat. You are burning thousands of calories just sitting still, but the supermarkets are looted and the fields outside are dead. You are slowly starving while you freeze. Your body makes a brutal, calculated choice. It abandons your extremities. Your blood vessels constrict, pulling warm blood away from your fingers, toes, and nose to keep your heart, lungs, and brain alive. Your fingers go numb, then turn pale, then blue. Inside your capillaries, microscopic ice crystals begin to form. They act like tiny razors, puncturing your cell walls from the inside out. Your tissue dies and turns black. Frostbite is eating you alive in your own living room. But you have to look deeper into the timeline to see the true horror. By the end of month 1, the Earth reaches -30 degrees Celsius. The surface of the world is completely unrecognizable. The oceans begin to freeze over. A thick layer of ice forms across the Atlantic and the Pacific. This is actually a twisted stroke of luck for the deep ocean. The ice layer acts as a massive thermal blanket, trapping the remaining heat in the liquid water far below. But for you, trapped on the surface, the ocean is gone. It is just a vast, expanding desert of black ice. You and the remaining survivors have retreated underground. You are digging into the crust of the Earth, crawling into abandoned coal mines and subway tunnels. Why? Because the core of the Earth is still a boiling ball of liquid iron. It generates its own geothermal heat, fueled by the decay of radioactive isotopes deep underground. The closer you get to the center of the Earth, the longer you can survive. You become a mole, clinging to the fading warmth of a dying rock. But the atmosphere above you is about to do something you cannot even imagine. By the time 1 year has passed, the surface temperature drops to -70 degrees Celsius. In some places, it hits -100 degrees. At this point, it is not just the water that freezes. The air itself begins to die. You know the atmosphere is mostly nitrogen and oxygen, with a little carbon dioxide. But at these extreme temperatures, gases cannot remain gases. First, the carbon dioxide in the air freezes and falls to the ground as dry ice snow. Then, the true nightmare begins. The temperature keeps dropping. At -183 degrees Celsius, oxygen loses its gaseous state. It turns into a liquid. If you were somehow standing on the surface in a protective suit, you would see it raining liquid oxygen. It would pool on the frozen ground in pale blue puddles. The very air you need to survive is literally falling out of the sky. Shortly after, the nitrogen condenses and falls. The entire atmosphere of Earth collapses. It freezes solid, coating the dead planet in a thick layer of blue and white toxic snow. There is no more sky to protect Earth from radiation or meteors. If you step outside now, your lungs will collapse instantly in the vacuum. The pressure drops to 0. Your blood would boil if it were not already frozen solid. You are suffocating in a frozen vacuum on the surface of your own home world. In 1977, NASA launched the Voyager 1 probe. In 2012, it crossed the boundary of our solar system and entered interstellar space, where the temperature hovers just a few degrees above absolute zero. That is the environment that Earth is now plunging into. Decades pass. The temperature stabilizes at -240 degrees Celsius. Earth is a rogue, frozen ghost ship sailing blindly through the dark, passing other dead rocks, completely invisible to the rest of the universe. And here is the twist that changes everything. You look at the sun every day and you think it is just a light bulb in the sky. You think the natural state of the world is warm, and the cold is just what happens when the weather changes. You have it entirely backward. The natural state of the universe is an endless, agonizing, freezing void. It is a lifeless vacuum that wants to rip the heat out of your blood and turn your lungs to glass. That is the default setting of reality. The sun is not just a lamp. It is a ferocious, roaring anomaly. It is a shield of unimaginable power, violently pushing back the natural death of the cosmos, creating a tiny, temporary bubble of impossible warmth where you are allowed to exist. You are a parasite feeding off the heat of a continuous nuclear explosion. The moment it stops, the universe does not actively kill you. It simply reclaims its territory. The cold is not invading. It was always there, waiting patiently just outside the atmosphere, waiting for the fire to go out. Deep at the bottom of the frozen oceans, clustered around volcanic hydrothermal vents, microscopic extremophile bacteria continue to thrive in the boiling, mineral-rich water. They do not know the sun is gone. They do not care. They feed on the Earth's internal heat. Millions of years from now, long after the surface is a tomb of frozen air, these bacteria will be the only living things left on the rogue planet Earth. They are the true inheritors of the world. You were just a temporary guest of the sun. Right now, as you watch this, take a breath. Feel the air easily expanding in your chest. Feel the warmth of the room radiating against your skin. You are alive right now, in this exact second, solely because a giant sphere of plasma 150 million kilometers away is violently holding back the dark. And it could vanish before you even finish blinking.